Welcome, this is Tracy with QuickBooks from the Top, and we are going over the different versions such as the desktop and the online version. And now we're going to go over the online version. So in the online version, what makes it so appealing, number one, the ease of being able to get on to the cloud and use your QuickBooks through a Mac or a PC. I also can go right on to my cell phone. If I'm sitting somewhere waiting for a client, I can go in and actually produce any of the functions. I can do payroll sitting at a stoplight. So there are a lot of advantages to the online version. One of the things that you will notice if you've looked at the desktop version is it doesn't have as many bells and whistles. But what it does have is a centralized location to grab your activities for your customers and your vendors and your employees. Of course, on the other, these are the other activities such as bank deposits, transfers, journal entry statements, and inventory quantity adjust, and also paying down your credit card. So with these activities in the original setup, when you're setting it up, they call this the gear, and the gear drops down, and I call this administrative tool because this is where I would go in, set up my chart of accounts, manage my users, set up my products and services, also the reconciliation at end of the month, and it does have budgeting in here. In the banking section, this is where your bank feeds come in on a daily basis. This shows the balance in your checking account at the bank, for your savings account, and also for your credit card, the MasterCard account. In here, it gives you what's showing in the bank and what's showing in your QuickBooks. It also gives you this number here that shows the items that have come through that you need to identify. On all these transactions, you want to open them up, make sure that, in this case, it doesn't have the name in there yet, but make sure it has a name. You can quick add it, or you can add more details to it, but for the most part, this is an income account from a rental, and it's a customer. So I'm going to save that as a customer, and I'm going to put it towards an income account. So what happened is I really didn't even need to create the invoice in here, as it came through as a $200 payment, and I'm just categorizing it to the right category. As I hit add, it adds it into my bank register. So all these items here are not added in yet. One of the other cool things it does is it matches items. So if it saw that you made a deposit in QuickBooks, you made the deposit, printed out the deposit slip, took it to the bank, and then it got deposited. Well, when that bank feed comes in, it matches a transaction. It says, we see a deposit you made on 3/9 for the same amount, and if that is the same one, all I have to do is match. Therefore, it doesn't duplicate it. So all these transactions were already in the system, and it's really easy for me to just match them through. If I'm adding one like I did for A1 rental here, we would just go to the bank register and be able to see that a rental here is recorded as a deposit, and you'll see my balance again is showing the total here and what's in the bank. Now I'm just going to go back to banking just to show you again that you can make rules for things as well. So if you go to Chevron, every time a Chevron comes up, I could say, I need this to go to a certain expense account. And if I want, I can set up the payee as Chevron. So there's a lot of power in creating rules so that when you're in your banking, all these transactions actually are going to the correct account, and it will identify that by the rule. Also to the left, you can look at a sales overview. Just like you did in the desktop, you're looking at either the customers with their transaction. This shows all the overview. If I want to drill down just to a customer, I can see their transaction history with me. So if I wanted to go over to Amy's Bird Sanctuary and see all the transactions in there, I could see all the payments, time charges, and invoices. So basically the history of Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Same with the vendors. If you're going into a vendor, you can go through each vendor and see the transaction history in there as well. Payroll, super easy to use. It also has an option to keep track of your subcontractors to do your 1099s and your workman's comp. And then in the reports, it doesn't have 365 reports in here, but it definitely has everything you'll need. And it also has management reports, which if you're handing out reports, this is a good way to give this to the board of directors, the owner, or if it's just you, you can use this for your bank when you send this off. It looks real professional. And you'll see it. This includes the profit and loss and the balance sheet for a certain period of time that we selected. And you notice I'm just going back to the dashboard. I usually like the business overview, just kind of giving me a breakdown of the invoices that are unpaid, any expenses, a sales graph, and a profit and loss for the last 30 days. Again, I can look over to the right, and this will take me right into the banking portion, and you'll notice how it kind of skips on this line here. But really nice, easy to use, made for a self-employed person that doesn't have time to keep track of backups, so this one backs up in the cloud. Also, they can keep track on a daily basis of what's in their checking account. So, you can always have access without even having to go into your bank account to see what the balances are. Again, this is just a short overview to show you the differences between the desktop and the online version. Thank you so much, and if you have any questions, please contact me.